Hi, everyone. My name is Eric D'Souza, and thank you today for joining us for the second episode of Going Pro, where Crime Writers of Canada celebrates the publishing of someone's first novel, or if they've published three novels and have gone from column associate member to column professional member. Now, as I mentioned, this is our second episode, and already we're slightly breaking the rules because our guest today, Jeremy Simmons, has actually been in the professional aisle for a while now because he had several short stories, which I found on his website also. Um, but we still wanted to celebrate his debut crime novel today, um, To All Those Who Killed Me. So first off, Jeremy, we have a mutual friend, AJ, and when he was sort of like pitching your novel to me the first time, he's like, "There's going to be a warning label on the cover." It didn't end up being on the cover, but it is in the book.
Yeah.
Um, so why exactly does your book need a warning label?
Well, because it's pretty damn hardcore, Eric. If you thought it was hardcore now, the first drafts were even more so. It's a hard edge, really gritty crime story. I write the same type of works that I like to read and watch. So I don't hold back. So there's some very strong scenes in this, and it is crime fiction after all. I've always been drawn towards that sort of grittier side of life, at least for now, in my writing, and I tend to create some scenes. Now, that said, the whole novel is not fraught with action and violence, but certainly when it does happen, I wanted to portray it in a really real and authentic light. That's one of the things that I sought to do, and I didn't take those scenes. There's really only a few scenes that I think are possibly in question. I think they're absolutely essential to the story and plot and the characters, and I didn't want to soften them in any way. So,
Um, well, you mentioned you read authors like this, so
mhm.
which authors would you say are similar to yours, or what
I would
inspired you
say
to be gritty?
um, Joe Nesbo would definitely be one. The Scandinavian authors those guys don't hold back at all. Very, very dark. This novel would seem almost PG compared to their works. Um, Michael Connolly has some strong scenes. In Lawrence Block in his Matthew Scudder series, he throws in some real shocking elements that I quite like. They never feel gratuitous. They feel essential to the plot, and I guess I've been sort of weaned on those novelists.
Mm.
Don Winslow would be another one, especially his Cartel series set in Mexico, and those type of authors. I'm quite drawn to their works. So they've definitely been a big influence in me in my crime fiction as well.
Excellent. Is it important, like you mentioned, all these international authors? Yours is set in Vancouver,
Mhm.
often not considered a gritty city. Um, are you bringing the grit to Vancouver, or is it already there, or could you have
I
been set anywhere?
Well, the grit's there if you know where to look for it. It is sadly it's disappearing. A good chunk of my novel is set on the downtown east side. I've never lived in the downtown east side, but I've spent a fair bit of time down there, and I do a lot of research. I'm still drawn to it, that area, and I recently took did a bit of a photo tour down there, and I brought along a photographer friend of mine who was quite appalled by the state of things down there during the day, and I said, you should see what it's like at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're walking down some of these alleys. Um, it's not inherently a dangerous place, but if you go into some of those bars at the wrong time and look at somebody the wrong way, there's definitely an element down there that you will not find it anywhere else in the city. I live in a very idyllic neighborhood in the West End, right by Stanley Park. It's beautiful, but I'm fascinated by the fact that I could get on my bike or my car, and in 10 minutes I could be over there. For many years, I worked in West Vancouver, which was considered it is still is considered the Canada's wealthiest enclave, and so I like to juxtapose those two elements, the extreme wealth along with the extreme poverty existing in one city, a very beautiful city at that. So, but yeah, there are definitely the pockets of grit that, despite all the gentrification, are still there.
Yeah, it's amazing in Vancouver how you can be like the touristy, nice section of Gastown and just take one block too far, and it's a
That's
whole
right.
different world. And you got some of
Exactly.
the richest people beside some of the poorest people
Yeah,
in
that's right.
America.
Yeah, yeah.
We mentioned that you started your career with short stories. So because you've dabbled in both now, Do you find I don't know, the brevity of a short story easier, or do you like to sink your teeth into a novel? Like hypothetically, then, if you were going to publish a book of like let's say 10 to 15 short stories, would you find that easier or harder than writing a novel?
It might be easier to have sort of a running theme throughout the short stories. Mine tend to be diverse and sometimes a little bit experimental. They're all crime fiction in some form. Some of them are very light. Not all of them involve murder and grit. Some of them are a little bit lighthearted. What I do, I basically write short stories in between novels or maybe in between drafts. I find it's a great palate cleanser. It's also a good way to really, it doesn't take very long. So it's a great way to explore an idea that maybe you want to flesh out into a novel, but you're not sure if it has the weight. I typically do a first draft of a novel in about a week, and depending on the length, and then revise it a little bit, and it's pretty much good to go. So it's a fun process, and sometimes I realize, well, hey, there's something here that maybe could be explored a little bit more. But oftentimes it's not. It's a smaller idea, and it's done as a bit of an experiment. Maybe I've even taken peripheral characters in my novels and written short stories around them. You know, an interesting character who maybe only makes it into a novel in one or two scenes, but who I'm quite fascinated with, and I get to sort of show a side of life from their perspective. Also, my novel is written entirely in first person through Sloane Donovan's eyes. So it's nice to be able to show a perspective from somebody else, another character, for instance. Or I've even written short stories of Sloane in the third person, so I'm able to cover a little bit more ground that way. So it's a good exercise. It's a good way to keep going. I don't stop. When I finish a draft, I have to work on something else right away. I like the grind of writing, so I don't really take big breaks in the creative process. It doesn't work for me. So always going.
So from the sounds of it, you keep saying novels, so you have other novels written for the series?
I do. Yeah, I've got a second novel pretty much ready to go called Call of the Void. It's a follow-up. It takes place about 6 months after To Those Who Killed Me. And then I am working on a third novel, which is called Blood Alley, which takes place, pretty much present day.
We have a Blood Alley, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
we do. Yeah, and that's fast being gentrified, and
yes, already.
ties in. Blood Alley is not what it used to be 10, 15 pre-Olympics. It was very,
Yeah.
very different place, almost unrecognizable. So
I have your cover here, so let me just bring this up, or at least I thought I had your cover. Oh, I don't have a good version of it. Well, here's your poster. You can see there. I wish you could make that bigger faster. You can see your cover here, and you've got a great blurb. Let me scroll down here a little bit from, I guess, one of Vancouver's best, Sam Weeb. He says,
absolutely.
it's a scorching debut. Donovan is the sleuth to be reckoned with. Uh, how exactly did you score a such a great blurb from Sam Weeb?
I just asked him. Well, it was. I gotten to know Sam a little bit through the Noir at the Bar series. I also took a crime writing class with Sam when I was actually just ready to start one of my final drafts of Those Who Killed Me,
Mhm.
just to kind of get a bit of a fresh insight. So Sam's a guy I've known a little bit for quite a while and established a bit of a rapport with, and I feel like there's a literary kinship with Sam Weeb. He's a phenomenal writer. He's one of those guys that I've aspired to that type of quality in my own work. Our characters walk some of the same mean streets, and although the tone's a little bit different, but and I thought nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I emailed him. It was crunch time, and I knew that I had some blurbs in already, and I thought I really want to get one from Sam if possible. So I reached out and got him a copy of the book, and he blurred me. So I'm very thankful to Sam for that, along with AJ and everybody else who's played a part.
Just sorry, really quick sidebar question.
Mhm.
I know I promised you that was gonna be your last one, but what's Sam's course like? I've always been curious about it.
It's really insightful. It was a Saturday class, and it's really interesting to be able to go in there and sort of pitch your idea, talk about it a little bit, and just what I find in that sort of roundtable type discussion where you're spitballing ideas with other writers in various stages is just just by getting it out there, it sometimes exposes flaws, just by verbalizing it to other people who are
Mhm.
and other ears, people that you're not familiar with, that don't have any interest in the stroking your ego or anything like that. Sam's a very fair-minded guy, very nice guy, but very, very astute and very knowledgeable in all areas of crime fiction. So sometimes it's, you miss something. There's a scene that doesn't quite work, and you just want to get a fresh set of eyes on it or perspective. And I find it can really help sort of step back a little bit and hear what other people have to say.
Well, Jeremy, I can't wait to get a fresh set of eyes on your debut novel. AJ says he's got a copy of me for me, so I just have to go visit his house and I get to read the
Excellent.
novel. It was a pleasure interviewing you today, and thank you for being our second guest. And thank you for disclosing
Thanks.
early on that we were technically breaking the rules, but this is the internet, right? There are no
Exactly.
rules.
Yeah.
We're crime novelists. We can do what we like, right?
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Rules are
Thank you
meant to be
everyone for
broken.
watching.
Thanks very much, Eric. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.